Hello guys and welcome to another episode of Air Tycoon Online 3. This is a pretty interesting episode because I'm going to be spending most of this episode optimizing my company. Now, basically what's been going on is I haven't played for nearly a week. So a lot of things have been happening around my company. Primarily, as you guys can see, my company value graph had decided to basically get thinner and thinner and thinner. It's not increasing at the rate it should be. My net reports are getting very bad during the downturns, as you guys can see here. Also, my upturns are no longer as high as they used to be. Of course, this was a fuel crisis right here, so I don't really don't like read into that too much, basically. But yeah, as you guys see, my upturns are about 4.2 billion, but it goes all the way down to about 2 billion or less than that in the downticks. And in this last downtick, I went down to what is this? 400K for almost no reason. Like, fuel is cheap, flight expense, like why would my company be making so little? So basically what that's made me realize is the company needs to be optimized. I haven't played or touched the game very much besides replacing aircraft in nearly 10 days. And what that's resulted in a lot of airplanes being auto replaced onto bad routes. A lot of my planes are dipping into zones of satisfaction where they're no longer profitable, like my MD-11s, and they all just need renovations. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. Is a lot of renovations. It's going to be costly, but it should help a lot. Now, one of the first things I need to decide is whether to replace my A310s and my 767-200s with larger planes. Period, because it's no longer very optimal to be operating such small aircraft. Or should I renovate them? And I think I'm going to go with replacing them. And here's the reasoning. Every plane which I buy from now on, that does not have to be replaced. It's 2004, basically. And planes last 20 years in this game. So I will never have to replace any of the planes I buy now, just renovate them. And that makes me think that I probably should be replacing, these larger, more expensive aircraft like the MD-11. There's nothing wrong with operating them. Yeah, they're slightly less efficient than a modern 767, but on routes where, I'm not struggling from heavy competition, like probably this, they can still be decently profitable. Cebu to Rome, Rome to Montevideo, as you guys can see, like, it can still be profitable. The problem is the satisfaction is just too low. So all I have to do is basically throw up a quick renovation, and these planes should be profitable again. So, yeah, basically I want to renovate every single MD-11 I have because they're all low satisfaction. New seats and new like new entertainment equipment or whatever, something like this, and it should bring my satisfaction up to 70% again, actually. Um, so now all of a sudden we have all these nice new cabins, and that should be very nice. These planes should bring a pretty large spike back up in profit. Similarly, my 767-300s are getting very low on satisfaction, so I probably will consider doing a renovation on those soon. My 747-300s I've just renovated, and it's had a very positive effect on my profit since I did that. 737s are getting old too. My SPs are almost completely gone. As you guys can see, I only have a few SPs left, so there's no point in renovating these. I'll just replace them. And additionally, with my plan to replace my 767-200s next, followed by my A310s, I don't think there'll be much of a point to renovate these planes either. One thing I do want to do is any stopovers with these planes, I want to be replacing them with larger planes like 777-300, because I know these planes, despite having terrible satisfaction, will have high occupancy. So yeah, these kind of routes I'm going to be replacing with various 777s or 767-400s, which is the largest variant of the 767, basically. So yeah, I basically just want to be doing little things to optimize my company here and there, instead of trying to open so many new routes. Though once I'm done optimizing, I will start to, in fact, open some new routes because I do think it's time to do that. I have a lot of cities which my name value has been climbing up in, even despite me not playing. So yeah, basically, I think it is time for me to start growing my company again because I know you guys haven't been, being updated on this, but here's me and here's the number one player, RKK. As you guys can see, we're separated by about 120 billion in value. Now, that seems like a huge amount, but with almost 200 turns remaining, I just have to be about 550, 600 something K more profitable than him during this time, and I shall catch up with him. Now, it's going to require me to do a lot of playing to, dramatically spike up my profit by that amount, but, by making probably around 4 to 500 new routes, which of course will take a while, but will not take too long considering how many hubs I now have. Um, in addition to doing optimizations like fixing some of my worst performing competition routes, renovating old aircraft, replacing small inefficient 767-200s and A310s. A310s are actually still quite efficient, but the satisfaction is just getting low, which is causing the occupancy to drop. Yeah, just figuring out what routes can have raised prices and what routes can have lowered prices at this point should have a very large effect on my company. Um, for example, all these A310s I'm replacing right now, I don't think there's a point in keeping them. If I do open any new routes, I want to be using slightly larger aircraft just to have higher upticks and like hopefully equivalent downticks. Um, yeah, basically I'm doing that because I'm really hoping that um, like I don't really want to be using the A310s anymore. Yeah, they're still profitable. Let me show you guys this. Sold to Edinburgh, 3 point something K, just from an easy to create direct route. It's great and all, but with all these planes around 20% satisfaction now, and needing a renovation, basically I don't think it's worth it. I'll just sell these planes for a loss in value. As you guys can see, my value will go down a little bit. But it's not very much, to be honest. The value of my planes is decreasing as a proportion to the value of my company every day. Um, so yeah, another thing is I noticed that I'm throwing away a lot of satisfaction in my 767-300s or 747-400s because I renovated them too late, basically. I should have renovated them earlier, and in fact, not throwing away so much value of the renovation. Because as you guys can see, I'm gonna have to start replacing these soon, and most of them still have decent satisfaction, so that's a bit of a waste. Another thing is, what else do I need to do? Yeah, I basically need to decide whether to replace these A310s or keep them. Now, they're all direct now, as you guys can see, but a lot of these, despite having terrible satisfaction, are very constant in occupancy. As you can see, the occupancy is constant, which means it's as high as it can get for my satisfaction. Satisfaction, for some reason, prevents your plane from hitting 100% occupancy, as you guys can see here. The occupancy is sitting below 100, yet it's unchanging, meaning the plane is as full as it can get. So basically what I'm thinking is I should just replace, instead of renovate, these A310s into larger aircraft, because they can clearly support more. And that's where my 767 dash 400s come in. I'm gonna be using a mix of those and A340s to replace a lot of these planes. So, for example, LA to Bristol, this is a route which is too far to fly. How big is the? Is this the big one? Yeah, that's the big A340. Where's the small A340? I can just use a 767-400. But for example, I plan to start just replacing all these now 5% satisfaction aircraft with new aircraft and just selling the rest. So I'm gonna go through these routes and just simply replace them. As you guys can see, well, I don't want a 747. I think that these routes, I'm looking at them right now, like Singapore to Chinsau, these are decent routes. Like, I don't have a large doubt they'll be able to fill what is a pretty significant step up in size, almost 100 seats larger 767-400. I'm pretty sure they'll be able to quite comfortably fill it, so that's nice. Um, One problem is that the 767-200 does have a longer range than the 767-400, so there will be some certain routes where I have to use A340s, which I'm ordering now, as you guys can see in the background. But yeah, I think these are just optimizations where if I do them, they should have a good spike in profit at a cost of value now. But all I have to do is keep my fleet renovated basically, and that kind of stuff. And I should be, hitting 5 billion or higher in profit upticks, and hopefully above 3 billion on downticks. And with that kind of profit, I believe I should easily catch up to Air KK. Though if I do start closing on him, my fear is that he'll start playing actively too, and basically all my time playing will have been wasted. Um, because he'll catch up to me anyway if he starts. He'll always stay ahead of me if he keeps playing, and that's basically just because he started 10 years earlier than me, and we have both hit a point quite early on where it's no longer a game about skill, but it's a game about how much time can you invest into the game to make and open and manage your routes, um, because there's now so many. You have so much more money than you can possibly spend. Basically, that the only solution is, well, play as much as you can. Basically, that's the only way to maximize the profit. But yeah, unfortunately, that's not um, a skill based thing anymore. So basically, we're climbing equivalently because if I decide to play more than him, then he'll notice that I'm closing the gap close onto him, and then he'll play a little bit himself, a couple hours, open some routes, edit some of his competition, something like that, and he'll become equivalent profit to me, and we'll stay level at this approximately 120 million or billion dollar gap between our values. It'll just remain roughly constant. So yeah, basically now as you guys can see, I'm still in the 5% satisfaction planes. I'm basically gonna try and replace all the 5% satisfaction planes because I think um, for some reason they're just not efficient. They're just terrible, and I don't feel like renovating them because they're so close to expiring that they'll still have satisfaction when they're expired. And plus, renovating them is expensive. Not that expensive because it's a small airplane, but you might as well replace these planes with a plane which can make more money. I mean, per cabin, it'll cost 3 or 4K to renovate. I'll probably be losing around 15 to 20 million in value per plane that I sell, maybe less. Probably around that though. Um, but I'll have higher satisfaction for longer, more profit per turn. I'm guessing that the investment will basically pay itself back in less than 10 or 15 turns, maybe 20 turns, something like that. The investment of buying new airplanes compared to flying these old ones and renovating them. So that's why I've decided to go ahead and replace a lot of these planes. Now, I'm going to have to be doing a lot of orders on these 767s, actually. I've just realized, I'm out of 767 oh, still more. As you guys can see, I've been ordering them in different orders, so it is a bit confusing to replace them. And now let's see how much value I'm losing. So I'm losing, this is 60% of the value, so I'm losing, yeah, about 15 million per plane. That's some very rough math. Uh, so as you guys can see, my value is ticking down, but not by very much. I think these changes should increase my profit by quite a bit, which is nice. Nice to think about. Now, what's next on the agenda? Now, one of the things I said I had to do is I have to open new routes. Um, Let me see if I can hit 3,000-ish routes in this world. Um, but the World Traveler Index is, as you guys can see, very good. So I don't think there's downside to opening new routes. I'm just going to be looking at some of my routes to kind of gauge the kind of airplane I should be using. That's 767-400, completely full. Thailand, 777-200, not completely full. Harbin, I'm guessing it's a 747, nearly completely full. Okay. So the size of the recipient city makes a very large difference. Um, it seems to me that above 300 is very good and below 300 is kind of iffy, basically. So what that tells me is a route like this should be able to support a 747. Now, I don't have very many 747s on me, basically. Um, Mostly 777s because maybe I should just use a 777. It's only a few seats smaller. Yeah, how many seats smaller is it? It's like 60 seats smaller? Yeah, I'm not losing much. 30 seats per half of the route. So I guess I could easily use a 777. Let me take a look at my 777, see how they're doing, because I haven't played a lot since the 777 came out. So let's take a look at this. So Nappy Dot to London. Let's take a look at that. This route's full. It's making 4K. The other half is making 4. Okay, the 777 is basically a beast. I mean, it's making like 8K per plane. Let me just make sure that's true. Let's go to all routes and let's find the 777. 777-200 dash 300 should be next. That's a lot of dash 200s. Jesus, I didn't realize I had that many dash 200s. Jesus, I have a lot of airplanes. Oh, here we are. Dash 300s. Now, the first thing I see is these struggling ones. I'm pretty sure those were replaced planes. There's no way those planes were, 20% satisfaction. Okay, where's the not replaced planes? Okay, here's not replaced planes. Each one is making about 7K. Um, Slightly less than 7K, it looks like. It looks like we average about 7K, whereas my 747s average much more. Okay, well, it seems to me that larger routes still probably do deserve a 747 because they simply make more money. And I should reserve the 777s for slightly worse routes like Vientiane, for example. Slightly less than 300 city should be 777s, 300 or slightly more than 300 to a large city. Um, I will consider using 747s instead. I think that should be my kind of plan. Now, one thing I noticed is this phone is laggier than the iPhone, at least while recording. And that makes so I can't open routes as fast. Actually, think I'm opening routes probably about 30% slower than I would on the iPhone. Um, but though that could be due to recording. I rarely record while playing on my other phone because it has a lot of issues when trying to record, which I don't know how to deal with because I'm not familiar with the Apple iOS system and that kind of stuff. But I just get really frustrated at the operating system, even though it's probably me, the user, who is making the problem in the first place. But that doesn't stop me from being frustrated, so that's not helpful. Anyways, let me just keep making my good routes. There's honestly a lot of great cities nowadays. Uh, just about finding them, I guess. I haven't played for a while, of course, so I can't really remember where are the pockets of cities I haven't connected to yet. Like that, I don't really want to be making that kind of route or this kind of route. You know what I mean? Even though I know it would be profitable. Oh god, I just accidentally navigated away. Oh god, it's really laggy to be honest. The game. Maybe I'm on power save mode on my phone, though. I think I turned that off before I started recording. Um, for this very reason. But anyway, I can't seem to find good routes, so that makes me curious. How much do bad routes make? Now, I don't have that many bad routes to look at. Um, Ottawa? Ottawa's not even bad, and that's making a shit ton, as you guys can see. Uh, well, if that kind of route is making a lot, I guess any kind of route will. Um, So yeah, I guess I'm just gonna grab 777s and just open up stopovers. Now, you guys have already seen, kind of what I'm aiming to do, I guess. And I kind of want to stop recording so I can do this with a less laggy experience. So, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'm just gonna be, popping out routes as fast as I can, between, Europe and that kind of stuff. Making stopover routes. If I want to do direct routes, probably be using smaller A340s, A330s, or 767, something like that. I'm not sure yet. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'll see you guys next time.